This is The Talk, a podcast series where African American and Jewish teens get together to talk about their lives and issues they care about, to learn about each other's backgrounds and cultures, and to build new friendships.
This episode is called Current Issues. A recent shooting of a teen in Madison made us think about gun violence and how gun laws make it too easy for kids to get guns. We realized that it's hard to get gun laws changed until we first make it easier for people to vote and make our representatives listen to us. This episode explores those issues.
My name is Sadiq. I'm a senior in high school, and my pronouns are he, him, his.
My name is Pierre. I'm 17, pronouns he, him, his, and I attend Madison LaFollette High School.
My name is Lila, pronouns she, her, and I'm a sophomore in high school.
My name is Sydney. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm a sophomore in high school.
Okay, so not too long ago, there was a recent shooting in the Madison area on the east side of a 15-year-old girl and two 14-year-olds were injured. What was the impact of the school community when incidents like this happen? So how did you guys feel about this situation?
It's like it hurts the heart because that's a girl with her whole life ahead of her that was taken away because of these dangerous weapons that we allow as a country to like just be available to the public. My school, I know that we had people come in to talk to the BSU specifically. I don't think they talked to anyone else, but the Black kids primarily about these gun issues and how we felt about it and what are we gonna do to like make sure things like this don't happen again. That's like my input on it.
I on like the far west side. Unless I like completely missed it, this never really like came to my school, I guess. It was like just something on the news, I think. There was no like talk or anything. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention to announcements that day, but I didn't hear anything about it. I think just kind of like went around the community as the community spread it.
Yeah, I wasn't like in town when all of this happened, but I also didn't hear it much around my school. But I think that like things like this happen often like around the US. And people just like push it off, but it really is like a big deal that this is happening to like such young people too.
Yeah, I think a couple weeks ago we had our lockdown drills at school. My school is under heavy construction right now, so we never heard the lockdown drill start in my class.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady came in to clear us while we were all just like standing around talking, waiting for it to hear it. She's like, "You guys are fine." We're like, "It went off." Like, currently my school, there's a good chance that half the school will have no clue if someone comes in. I think that's terrifying, especially considering, like, how much of a maze my school is right now with all the construction. Like, people don't know how to get to their classes just because hallways they normally would use are blocked. So, like, what are we really supposed to do if a kid with a gun gets in? How are we leaving? How are we finding a way out? We have the middle of the school building is currently blocked up. Like, where are we supposed to go from here?
My bad, you want some?
I just want to say, like, me being on social media, like, I got the news, like, it was, like, going around and stuff, and I heard about it, and I was, like, sad about it, because I know, like, people were, like, grieving and stuff like that, but I know, like, local organizations like Freedom Inc., Urban Triage, they're providing resources to, like, families that are, like, grieving, like, hurt, to, like, give them a space to, like, just talk about it and just, you know, be able to, like, you know, yeah.
Adding on to what our schools was doing, I don't think we necessarily did anything. I think, like I said, we talked about it earlier, and we proposed the idea of having security guards in our schools. Now I know schools in Illinois or Chicago specifically have like metal detectors. You can't like leave the school openly. You got to stay there throughout all your classes, and once you're gone, like you can't come back in. Now, I was, like, contemplating if, like, what if, do our schools need that thing so to guarantee that our students are safe? Yeah, that's, like, my input on it.
I feel like schools don't, like, talk about current issues like that. Like, they don't bring up a lot of the stuff that's happening on the news to school. Mm-hmm. it's just like you just find out, and then, or like if you're in a club, an organization that talks about it, then that's where you find it out from. But
Yeah, I definitely think that like things like this need to be talked about more. And like about the security guards at school, like we've had security guards at our school like since I've been there, but like that also didn't stop like a person from having a gun in their backpack all day, and like we didn't know until like after the school day was over, and that's just like really unsettling.
Yeah. Schools do not do current issues at all. It's like, I think history teachers sometimes might talk about it just as like to connect it to the curriculum, but if it's not connecting, no one's going to say anything.
Right.
Right. So what do you think schools should do?
I think it needs to be like brought up more. I think school's like a good place to bring it up because like if you're in a family setting, it's very hard not to be pulled in one direction or the other, right? It's like your parents are here, they're listening, they want you to be on their side. But in a school setting, there's no pressure like that. It's like you're here to learn. So being able to learn about current issues in a situation, in a place that's supposed to be like relatively unbiased, like everyone's going to have their biases, but in a learning environment, it's a lot easier to like learn than in a like a home environment watching the news. Like, have you tried watching the news lately? Like you want to go to like two completely opposite sources and then cross-reference to get anything near the normal picture.
yeah, I feel like it goes back to like the Israel and Palestine
Yeah.
situation. Like I didn't know much about it. I didn't even know that was going on, like genocides. And I'm just like scrolling through social media and I see stuff like this, but I didn't really understand until one of my like first art teachers talked about it and dig more deep into it. But I think it's just crazy that they don't like talk about stuff like that. And we do probably have Palestine people in our school that are probably grieving about that situation. I feel like it should just be brought. It should be known. You know?
As a Jewish student who like goes, homecoming was the day the war was declared a war, and I go to homecoming dinner with another one of my friends, and we're like, and I have an app that like tells me when there were rockets fired into Israel because I need to keep an eye on that. I have friends there, and I look at my phone and I see the 10 notifications. I go, oh, they just bombed this place. My friend, he goes, oh yeah, they did. Like this is me and my Jewish friend. This has become so normalized to us. Oh, this city's been bombed. Oh, this city's been bombed. And like now I'm watching the news and I'm like, I'm supposed to go to school and I'm supposed to know that I have like people I'm close to who are in the army, who are actively trying to like fight for their country. And I'm supposed to go to school and be okay. Like I had a test that week and I went to my teacher and I was like, yeah, so there's some stuff going on. This test might not go so well. I'm sorry. And she was like, yeah, that's why we have a test grade drop. It's like, great. I can go drop my test grade from the week a war broke out. And that's going to solve all my problems.
Right, it definitely needs to be like talked more because everyone like knows this is going on, but nobody's really talking about it like at schools and stuff, and it definitely should be.
How do Wisconsin's gun laws make it easier for people to have guns? Why are our guns laws so lax?
We discussed that Wisconsin is a open carry state, meaning you can have a gun in public areas.
Yeah.
And I heard you can like also sell guns in the back of your trunk, and like it's not really, you can't really get caught for doing that. You know?
Yeah, it's not like regulated
Yeah.
so much. I was reading up on like gun laws for minors specifically because of like the age range of this shooting. If you are over the age of 12, you can have a gun to hunt with. And once you are, I think it was 14, you don't have to be supervised to be hunting with said gun. And I think that's like terrifying because high school students are all over the age of 14. And you could have a gun for hunting and you could take it to school.
Yeah, that's terrifying. Like it should not be that easy for people to just like walk around with guns, like anyone.
The gun lobby is a powerful influence on our legislators, both in Wisconsin and federally. Even though polls show the majority of Americans want stricter gun control, how does voting rights intersect with the lax of gun laws?
Oh, okay. I think something later on this list is about voting rights for felons, like convicted felons. And I think part of it is like not enough people have the right to vote. And like Wisconsin's very gerrymandered, which is also on the sheet. It's very like the voting districts are not even, they're not fair at all, and they're very controlled, which means no matter how many people in this place like want there to be stricter gun laws, if they are in the wrong spot, that's not getting to their legislatures. That's not making it to the polls because the polls are split so badly. Does that make like any sense at all?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think money plays a huge role in how we change or keep our gun laws. I think the world moves around money. So if this gun law is like providing so much money to the U.S., I don't think the people in power with the power to change those laws or to make them more control are going to do that, because that will decrease the incoming money of those people in power.
Money feels like everything in this country, doesn't it?
Right.
Okay. I know we're like all young to vote, like we're getting there to vote, but like what can we do now to like make a difference in voting laws and gun laws?
I think just like continue to express like the need for like more strict gun control, and like even though we all can't vote yet and stuff, but still like being involved in the community and like having people hear our voices, even though we can't like technically really legally do anything about it yet, but I think still just talking about it is really important.
Yeah, I want to build off that. I'm actually on a youth advisory board with the Madison Police Department, and I'm kind of glad they have something like that in Madison, because like it's just high schoolers that we like sit down with the chief, and we're directed by one of the people from the Commonwealth Development, and we talk about the history of policing, and we dig deep into like gun laws and like, you know, how can we make like officers and youth relationship, how they can build relationship together instead of like, you know, what am I trying to say? Like I said, like them hating, like saying like they don't like the cops or, you know, stuff like that, but just to build a relationship between the cops. I appreciate that group I'm in, just to have the time to talk about like issues like that bothers us.
Yeah, building off like making your voices heard. In English class a bit ago, we read an article about like the kids, like the people our age, leading these protests. I think it was BLM protests that this article focused on. It was like a 14-year-old girl and a 15-year-old and I think like a couple 16-year-olds, and they had planned this like all online, and they meet up. I already forgot the location. My brain is not there, but like, and they meet up at this thing. And I'm like, oh, this is not gonna happen. And then this was a huge march, and this was led by like high school students. And the idea that like we can just like say something, and if we say it loud enough and to the right people, people will listen. Like we have that power, and I think it's time we start like stepping into that even more than we already have.
Did you guys like hear about the Nazis? Like I just recently heard about
the neo-Nazis on UW.
Yeah, I just heard about that, and I think that's crazy because it's like, I guess like their goal is to bring back like racism, like hatred. So how do you guys feel about that?
So my mom gets a call. My mom and I were like reorganizing my bathroom today. So my mom gets a call from one of her friends, and I only hear one side of here. Wait, what? And then 2 minutes later, I get a text from my friend, and she goes, "Did you see what's happening at UW?" And I say, "No." And she goes, "Go look at Instagram." And I look, and I'm like, "What am I looking for?" And she sends me a reel, and I look, and it is from the Stop Anti-Semitism group, and it is neo-Nazis at UW-Madison chanting, "There will be blood," with videos.
Wow.
Okay, and then I went out to dinner tonight, and I decided to wear my star out, and I'm walking around freaking terrified because there are neo-Nazis, you know, in this same area. Like, this is a risk.
Yeah.
And it's very, like, scary to be, like, living here and, like, going to school and being, like, I could be sitting next to someone who actively hates me just because I happen to be Jewish. It's a super, like, scary part. And I feel like it's, like, nothing compared to what Black people go to. But I think it's becoming, like, more well-known now. Like, you're Jewish and you're like, yeah, I'm Jewish, so what? And then all of a sudden something like this happens. You're like, oh no, this isn't good.
Yeah, no one should have to like live through that fear. And I just saw it because a person at my school like is like working downtown or something, and then they posted a video about it like on TikTok, and like then it was on a bunch of people's stories, and I was like, oh my God, like that's awful. And that's like downtown and around the Capitol, like that's horrible.
I was there with my friend last week because we were at a bar mitzvah and she hasn't been in town. And I was like, great, we're going to go look at State Street. We're going to go down to the Union. We almost went to the Capitol where there were Nazis today. And like, that's freaking scary to me. It's like, they're right here. And my grandmother ran from the Nazis when she was 5. She's still alive, and now I'm dealing with this? This isn't how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
Right. So like, how do you guys get your like news? Like, I know, like we talked about TikTok, Instagram. I feel like everybody gets their news from different places. Can you just talk about like, where you get your news and like, if you think it's real and like if you believe in it? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was recently introduced to this app called Citizen by yours truly, Sadiq. I've been on there like I've been on TikTok watching like how it's I think it's important for us as the future, the youth for the future. I think it's important for us to know the current issues that are going on. So having this app called like Citizen, which is like just telling you what's going on around you, it's like just like extremely important and well to have, good to have.
Yeah, I think with the Israel-Palestine war, my parents switched us to Fox News immediately. Like that day, I come down the stairs after seeing all the headlines pop up on my phone, and it's like, Fox News, special report that Israel has declared war on Palestine. And I'm like, great, we're watching Fox News. So I've been like getting a lot of news from there just because it's what's on in the house. And then I'm like on my phone and I'm like looking at NBC and I'm looking at ABC and I'm looking at CBS and I'm looking at, I think there was something on like Time Magazine. I don't even know. Like every source I can find, because for me, it's hard to find an unbiased source. So my default is go find the most biased source you can this way, one kind of in the middle, and now cross-reference. And at some point you'll get to a Venn diagram that makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, I think it's like so difficult to find like a neutral or like balanced news source. And so like I think I just look everywhere, like TikTok, like news websites, like just everywhere, and then just try to make some sense of like an idea of what's happening. But it's definitely difficult to find like the truth, which like what even is the truth about anything. So
Yeah, I agree. I don't always have time to watch the news, but since I'm always on my phone, I have like, news channels and like, like social media, Instagram. Like most of the time on Instagram and just scrolling through and I see like a big news pop, I try to like, verify it, to like check it to see if it's actually true.
Yeah.
But I think it's important for all of us like to really like see what's happening around us, because it's important, because we never know like what's going to happen.
Like the one place I try not to get my news from is social media, actually, because I've learned kind of like, I wouldn't say the hard way, but I've learned that like if I'm looking at social media, I am looking at this perspective that everyone in the world is going to see, and people know it, and people also know that they're going to get comments on it. So it is going to be very sanitized or very targeted toward a very specific audience that this person already knows they have. Because like you're not like a beauty creator probably isn't going to comment on this, but a news source that is specifically for this one area where they know the political climate might be very towards this direction just because they don't want to lose their following. So I feel like social media, while it can be like a very fast place to get news, it isn't a good main place. It's like, here's the headline, now go find all these sources, because like you're not going to get a picture that's near complete from a social media headline. It's going to give you like a starting point, I think.
Aside from social media, are there places where you guys can like actually sit down with real people and talk about current issues, whether it be like school, at home, or private areas with friends?
I think I have like a very like diverse friend group, or like not even friend group, but like a lot of different cultured friends, and so I think like seeing their perspectives on everything is like interesting, but also like talking about politics and other stuff with friends like can also be difficult. But like my school's current issues, like we have a student advisory board like that meets with the superintendent, and so there we can talk about like current current issues within the school. And then in my AP Human Geography class, like we kind of talk about current issues sometimes. And that class is like really helpful. But yeah, it's kind of hard to find those spaces.
Yeah, I'd say like the easiest place to talk about current issues is with my friends. And even then, it's really hard because like you don't want to lose a friend over something you saw in the news. It's like this line of, I want to talk about this with you because I want your opinion, but I don't want this to be a fight. I don't want this to end our friendship. It is one thing on the news. And I know my friend and I know I keep going to Israel Palestine, I'm sorry, but that's kind of like the main thing. I know my friend and I texted her and I was like, this girl in my class said something really freaking mean to me. I wasn't even talking to her. I was talking to another friend about what's going on. And my friend goes, yeah, if that's like a friend of yours, get rid of him. And I was like, you're doing that? And she was like, yeah, this isn't a situation you want to be in. If your friend is blatantly like not supporting you and like being mean about it, not respectful, they're not your friend. And that's like a scary bridge to cross, I think.
Have you guys heard about the Starbucks boycott?
I've
Or,
heard about
what's
it.
going on?
And
you guys know a lot about it.
I found it a little funny when I heard about it from my friend because she goes, so all the pro-Israel people are boycotting because the union supports Palestine. And all the pro-Palestine people are boycotting because the company itself supports Israel. And I go, so everyone is boycotting. I found it really ironic.
I've like heard some things about it, but I don't like understand it fully. But yeah.
Yeah, me too. I seen it on social media again, and I see like one of the news, like Cap Times news, and I guess like the two Starbucks downtown were like on like boycotting on Red Cup Day or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so
something
that
like
was the strike. I went to the boycott.
Oh, the strike,
They're
okay.
striking for Red Cup Day because it's like way overworked and they're already overworked during holiday season. So during holiday season, Starbucks gives free Red Cups if you order a holiday drink. I went last year with my mom because the holiday drinks looked good and we wanted a reusable cup. Oh my God. I don't want to work at Starbucks ever. It was chaos. I was in there and they were like so fast. It was like, next, I want this and this and this place with this thing and this thing. And they're like, okay, next. I was like, breathe, calm down. There are so many people in this store. It was to capacity over some cups. Like, it's a cup. You do not need a cup. I guarantee you've got like 10 more in your house.
We talked about issues outside of school. Is there like any current issues going inside your like school community or like school in general that you want to see more of, or like you want to see changed?
Fights.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's like a major thing in my school. I think my school is in the news for the wrong things, those wrong things being fights. But that's like a big issue.
Me personally, I think I just want to see more diverse teachers in my school. Like just, I think they make an impact in like ways students learn and like, not always just sending students home because like, they're in the hallways because you don't always know what's going on in their life, Maybe like ask them maybe like reach out to them and see like what they need or something instead of sending them home, like, because everybody can get an education, they just not in the right headset to like, be in that area.
On the hallways thing, last week during health class, I had to step out because I was very uncomfortable with the conversation. I didn't have a pass or anything. I just like left. And I was sitting outside the classroom and I don't know what the official title for these people are, like the people who like walk around the halls looking for stragglers with a couple black kids. And she's walking back to class. And I stand there and I'm like, am I going to get in trouble? And I don't get any trouble. I don't get a look. And I'm like, I have no pass. I am actively on my phone. Because, like, I'm trying to distract myself from this conversation, and you're just going to leave me? I was like, awesome, great, I don't have to deal with that right now, but also, something's off here. Because if I'm in English class, I can hear in the hallway someone getting yelled at to go back to class. Where's your pass? And I don't get anything. And I feel like that was, like, really weird to me. I was like, something's off.
Yeah, about like the diverse teachers, like I've never had a teacher who looked like me, and like in the entire high school, like there's no black teachers, but there's of course like a bunch of black security guards, and that's just like insane to me. And when I tell other people, they're like, yeah, like I haven't had many, or I've had like one, and that is just like so bad. And I think there's a sense of like connection or just like a little bit more comfort if like the teacher looks like you, and I've just never had that, and I think that's such a problem.
Expanding on what Sadiq and Camilla said,
Lila,
I'm so sorry.
you're good. I'm already bad at names anyway. It's fine.
Wait, no, I was talking about Camilla.
I'm Sydney.
Y'all throw me off. All right, but with the having more black teachers, that is a great proposal. Do you guys know like why we lack black teachers and have more, like you said, black security guards and black support staff?
I feel like not enough of them like, I don't know, like not enough of them like go to like school. Not enough of them are like in the education like sector of things. Like I think we just need to like get more students like more students of color to get into the education area, or like I'm not sure.
I get what you're saying. It's like they're not being funneled in that direction the way white students are. Like I've grown up being like, oh, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a psychologist. And everyone's like, yeah, you got that. You're great. You're right on track. I look at my 4-year plan and I'm like, great, I got psychology, I got forensic law, I'm taking criminal justice right now. I can go either direction. And like, I don't know, I'm being like pushed that way. Like they want to help me get there. I don't think it's the same for black people. I don't know.
I think like, I guess like for my school, I don't know. I think it's that like black teachers don't want to be there. I feel like as a black teacher, it would be hard to be there and work there, and even for black students it's difficult, and I've seen them come and go, like especially in elementary and middle school, like there weren't many, and then if there were, then they left, and like it's for specific reasons, and I think it's just like more difficult, and they'll just like have an easier time somewhere else where they're more like accepted, and yeah.
My viewpoint from it, I don't think I can name one African American friend that wants to be a teacher. Now, that with that mindset of the future of the US, right? I see that as why we lack actual African American teachers or teachers that look like us. Now, don't teachers like barely get paid anything like their worth, which is also insane.
Yeah, teachers do not get paid well, and I think that's definitely not helping matters.
Yeah, definitely not. Especially because, like, they're the ones really, like, raising the future, like, leaders of the world. And it's, like, it's horrible that they get paid so badly.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other questions, like comments?
Kind of like going back to the fights for a second. I think, Sadiq, you go to my school, right?
Yeah,
I think it's been, like, relatively normal lately to get, like, an email saying there was police presence at school today on your way out because there was a fight outside of school that made its way into the school. A while ago we had the Boba fundraiser and I was running it. 2 girls come in screaming at each other and we all get rushed out and we're like, what just happened? And then we all like process it for a second. We're like, oh great, there was a fight. Another one. And then we go back in 5 minutes later because they cleared the girls out who were fighting. And we go back on like nothing happened. It's like, and then I'll get an email the next day saying there was an altercation at school today. No one was harmed. Don't worry about it.
Do you think our schools are implementing or discussing something that could reduce the amount of in-school fights or fights that are in the school area?
I remember hearing something the day before with the lockdown drill about like, I think it might have been called the Sword of Justice. I'm not sure. Like their program.
We have a club for that at my school too.
They're like programming their like regulations, like how you get in trouble for doing certain things. But it was never like how to prevent or de-escalate situations. Just like if you get into the situation, this is how it's gonna hurt you academically. It's like there's no talks to the students about like here's how you can safely and relatively respectfully resolve an issue. And I think it's annoying because it's like I'm very argumentative, but on some level, like, you have to stop. And I think kids need to, like, be taught how to calm that down. And I think a lot of times you get, like, the take a step back and take 3 deep breaths.
Right.
And while I understand why that helps, in some situations it is not going to. And there needs to be more options than just putting pause on an argument.
as you said, with the restorative justice, my school has that too. I think they implemented that so that the kids who do like, say, get in trouble by like fighting or like huge arguments or whatever they do, that's so they don't like mess up their record or like go to jail or anything like that. But I also think that kids are taking that for advantage, like because they know that they're just gonna have to like just talk about why they were fighting, or there's no like harsh punishment. There's just like a slap on the wrist. I think that's made kids feel like they could act the way they do inside of the school building without harsh consequences.
Yeah.
So the talk. Thank you guys for coming and sharing your experiences. Anybody want to say any last comments, closing remarks?
I think we're good.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.